Good morning, YouTube. So with today's video, I'm gonna give you 10 great classical fragrances. What I mean by classical, stuff that is like 30 years or older, okay? Fragrances that the stash was famous back in the days. I have to refilm this one because this one made the cut. 1949, Rojas Mustache. Apparently it was launched in 2018, so here we go. First one, however, and this is not in any numerical order, is one that I personally don't like, but if you love like fragrances from a different era, then you're gonna love Lagerfeld Classic for Men. 1978 release. This is not for everybody. This is gonna be one of the more challenging fragrances in this list, but if you love old school powerhouses, like fragrances that were very masculine back in the day, this is one that you might like. This is a very woody but ambery scent with some powderiness to it. So the powderiness comes from the orris. There's definitely going to be a lot of amber. There's apparently tobacco, a lot of wood, some warm spices, some aldehydes, some citruses of course, patchouli, musk, clary sage, and so on. When I did my video with Rush, and this is his bottle, along with Javi from Fragtastico, they get this orange peel sort of vibe. Now, I personally don't. I've only given it 2 wearings, and that was all I was able to do. And I wore this after we filmed that video. But this, yeah, this is very, no, it's not for everybody. Very polarizing. This is fragrances when the guys were super manly. They're very masculine, but at the same time, they had that gentlemanly component. You know, nowadays, a lot of manly men, or people who claim to be manly men, are like, rah, 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 like, you know, like red pill type of guys. And I'm not taking a jab at red pill or the manosphere, maybe a little bit. But a lot of those guys that profess that male ideology nowadays are just like, they do a lot of this. This is from that era when the men were both manly but also gently. This is like leather jacket and black tee all the way to a tuxedo. Even though it's one that I personally really do not enjoy, there is a certain class to it. And this is also an autumn and winter fragrance. And longevity, projection, sillage are totally nuclear with like 8-10 plus hours. Next scent came out in 1988, and they are still selling this retail after like 36 years. It's still being sold retail, but you can get this for like 30 bucks or less. A lot of these fragrances here are inexpensive. You might have a few more expensive ones, but for the most part, like 40 bucks or less. Davidoff Cool Water, 1988 release. This is green. It is citrusy, minty, lavender. There's some seawater, some geranium, neroli, some musks, and apparently I think that there's like rose or like rose or jasmine. If so, I don't get any of that. But very green, very fresh, very citrusy, and with that salty tinge and musky and woody. That's what this fragrance really is. This is a signature scent for a lot of, you know, and I'm an older guy, I'm 47 in a couple weeks. A lot of Gen Xers and even a lot of boomers are still rocking this as their signature scent. I can understand why, because this is mass appealing, it is easy to wear. It does smell a little dated, a little classical, but in my opinion, it's a bit of a timeless classic, because this also smells like Creed's Green Irish Tweed, which came out in, was it 1985? So that one is older than this one. But Creed's is just done way better because it's better blended, better oils, better ingredients than this one here. But for a fraction of the price tag, I would go with this one. This is a great everyday fragrance. But when I think of like when to use it, it's more of an office fragrance. I just think that a lot of older men are rocking this, again, as their signature scent, but as an office fragrance, like their daily wear. Spring and summertime, longevity, 6 to 7 hours. Next one, got this maybe 2 years ago, and I like it. Definitely does have that 90s vibe. This is a 1993 release from Calvin Klein. That's going to be Escape for Men. This has been reformulated, and I'm sure that all of the fragrances that I'm going to be presenting you have been reformulated. A lot of people have stated, like who have left comments on my video, stated that this does not have like the same lasting power as the original. I get 6 hours, so I'm not complaining, but the scent is a little bit different as well. This is one that it makes me feel good. It's an energizing fragrance. So there's like mango, there is melon, so there is a little bit of a fruity nuance. There is eucalyptus, and then that's a note that I personally don't really enjoy, but and this is actually quite nice. There is some birch, some seawater, or some sort of aquatics, different woods with some musk, and apparently some amber and oak moss. Oak moss is in a lot of the older fragrances. It most certainly is in this one here as well. But this is really just casual. It's a feel-good fragrance. If you're an older guy who hasn't gotten his nose on this, this might bring back memories of like the 90s or even like the early 2000s, you know, like whichever decade or year that was great for you. For a lot of Gen Xers, the 90s were the times. This just has that 90s feel. It's a white t-shirt and jeans type of fragrance, but I do think that you can wear this for work, and it's just more of a spring, but more summer scent than anything. So, Calvin Klein Escape. This is pretty much when like you're escaping like your daily woes, the stress, because this fragrance is definitely going to make you feel good. Next scent was actually launched in 1993, and for me, this is super classy. It's a little dated, but for me, it's a timeless classic that's just super versatile, and it's from a super classy brand. Chanel Platinum Egoiste. This is a very green scent. So there is clary sage, there is galbanum, rosemary, lavender, petitgrain, neroli, I think some musk, and most certainly some woods. This is just a very aromatic scent with loads of green, a little like citrus-like, even though like citrus is not a listed note, but I feel like I get a little bit of like maybe lemon or grapefruit, fresh lavender, a little florals, and most certainly like the woods towards the base. It's a great signature scent that's very versatile, dressing it down, classy, like a business casual, all the way to a tuxedo. This is more of a spring and perhaps summer scent, but more of a spring scent. Very versatile. This might resonate more with the older guys out there. Next scent was actually launched in 1994, and it's not one of my personal favorites out there. Really, it's not one that I really enjoy. But for a classical list, you have to have this. And it's great bang for your buck that lasts a pretty decent amount of time. So a lot of people, when they make these cheapy lists, they definitely put this one in. Versace Blue Jeans. There's heliotrope and iris to add a bit of a powdery undertone. There is carnation, there is rose, there's musk, citruses, sage, geranium, tonka bean, sandalwood. There's pretty much everything but the kitchen sink. Kind of like this one here, but what this one is, it's a very aromatic scent that is floral, powdery, citrusy with like a musky woods. This is just casual, but at the same time, I think that this would be a good work scent for an older guy out there. I'm sure that a lot of the older guys, Gen Xers and Boomers, are rocking this to this very day as their signature scent. Because for me, this is more of a spring fragrance with like the orris, not the orris, the heliotrope, the iris, and of course those florals. Those are just like, for me, like springtime type of notes, but you know, just casual for me. Blue jeans. Versace Blue Jeans. When you think of blue jeans, you just think of casual. But if you want to wear this with a suit and tie, I do think that you can for like a daytime semi-formal event. Nothing too classy, but if you're a guest at a wedding, this will definitely go well. Next one, 1990 release, and they're still selling this one retail after 34 years. Calvin Klein Eternity for Men. So the original Eternity, because they have so many flankers. It's kind of like, it's time to kind of like retire all the flankers. But this, I smelled this on one of my workmates maybe 8 years ago. I'm like, what the hell are you wearing? Because it smelled really dated. It's a little dated, but a lot of guys are still rocking it. You know, like my coworker loves this one. It still is his signature scent, but this is very green with the sage and basil. So for me, there's a lot of that. There's definitely like the lavender, there's some citruses, there's gonna be some geranium, some lily of the valley, some woods, musk, and so on. If you love an era, like if you love the 90s, this is something that you're definitely gonna like. For me, this is like an everyday wear, and it's more of a spring scent than anything. Next one came out in 1986, and from what I heard very recently, about like, let's say 6 weeks ago, that this is being discontinued. And if it's true, get on it, because for under 25 bucks, this is great bang for your buck. Davidoff Zino. If you love classy fougères, this is one that you're most certainly gonna like. Now, this does smell a little dated. Oh yeah, so there's definitely like lavender, there is apparently like vanilla, there is rosewood, clary sage, geranium. I find like some of the old school notes are gonna be like clary sage, geranium, like basil, musk, and like lemon. That's me, but this definitely does have that old school vibe. It definitely more has a springtime type of feel, and this does get comparisons to Tom Ford Beau de Jour. Some people will disagree with me, but I just feel like it does. I've smelled it, I smelled Rush's bottle, and it does have that Tom Ford Beau de Jour vibe. This is just a fraction of the price tag. And I almost forgot to state, there's patchouli in this one. The patchouli is actually quite prominent on my skin, but just everyday spring, dressing down like business casual, all the way to a tuxedo. For me, it's that formal and longevity, no more than 7 hours. Next one was launched 40 years ago in 1984. Versace L'Homme. Absolutely dated in my opinion. And I will be doing a fun type of video with Chris from Scentland. Chris loves these classicals, these vintage type of fragrances, and I get it. But Chris is like the original, like OG in my opinion. He's just got that old school type of swag. But yeah, when we do this, I'm definitely wearing like a very flashy outfit, because that's what this fragrance kind of is from a different era. It just has like, you know, the stash era, but this is a very citrusy scent with warm spices and woods. So you're gonna get grapefruit, there's lemon, geranium, go figure, there's patchouli, go figure, sandalwood, musk, oak moss, of course. Apparently there's leather and vanilla. I don't really get that, but it is a very warm, spicy, so cinnamon. So warm, spicy, citrusy scent with some green herbal undertones and like a musky, woody dry down with some moss. It's not one that I enjoy, but I will bear it in order to do that video, which this is probably gonna go out first. But this definitely is old school. This is for an older man, or if you're a younger guy, you most certainly have very particular tastes, like this one here. These two, I would say, are the least mass appealing in this list. And for me, this is more of a spring fragrance. The last two are actually the oldest fragrances in this list. They're older than me. Next one, 1974 release, and it's the next two are super cheap on top of that. But Halston Z14. Apparently, this smells a lot like Tom Ford Italian Cypress, and if it does, I like it. Surprisingly, I like it. This is super woody, like super woody with a lot of whether it's lemon or grapefruit, but it's very woody with a lot of citruses. So some of these woods, cedar, cypress. Cypress most certainly is there. Vetiver, patchouli, geranium. You gotta have that note, right, in order to have this type of vintage. But like lemon and grapefruit with like leather, which I don't get, but like a mossy, ambery, musky base. I like. Tom Ford Italian Cypress. If it smells like that, I wish I got my nose on Tom Ford so I can do the comparisons, but this is old school masculine. So I find that the gentlemen back then, they were very manly. Like they knew how to dress classy, but they also knew how to act gently, but also knew how to take care of business. A lot of these manly men today are this. They're very loud, they're boisterous. I find that when you're like that, you have insecurities. You're just projecting your insecurities, because a true masculine kind of guy is silent. It's kind of like this is probably like a bad description, but like the gangsters, you know, like these wannabe gangsters are like, you know, super loud, while like the real G's are just like, make your noise, young man. They don't want the flag. They don't want the light. That's what like this type of masculinity is. They know how to back it up, and they know how to be gentlemen. They're just not all about this. And it's like fall, autumn, winter. And last but not least, this is the oldest one in this list. It's almost as old as my dad. 1955 release. Pino Silvestre, the original. I only know about this one because of the famous frag troll, Serapio Silva. The guy just plastered it all across the Facebook groups. But for this is like 12 to 18 bucks, like this one here. This is very woody, so if you love very woody fragrances, this is one that you're definitely gonna like. This is very heavy in pine tree needles, cedar, juniper berries. There is some citrus, so a little bit of lemon, a little bit of grapefruit, some lavender, of course the oak moss, but it's pretty much like a pine forest. You know, like when you're just hiking out in the woods, that's what this kind of is. It's just like a coniferous type of forest. And apparently there's also like some carnation. So carnation is a bit of an old school note. It's not really used in like a lot of perfumes nowadays. Like the old stuff, yeah, but just not so much now. But this, like this one here, is old school masculine. So bad boy with like a gentleman touch. Again, if Serapio didn't mention this one, I probably wouldn't know about it. It's actually quite nice. If you love like just pine tree needles, like a coniferous forest type of fragrance, this is one that you're definitely gonna like. This is for me, yeah, very, very piney with a little bit of greenery to it. And this is more spring and autumn. I do think that you can wear it in the wintertime, not when it's like your typical, like your Canadian cold, like your stereotypical, like, you know, like Canada is known for being cold. If it's like Alaska, Canada type of cold, no, but like it also depends on where you go in the country, because like out in Newfoundland or like the West Coast in Vancouver, it's nothing like Ontario or Quebec, you know. But for me, yeah, I surprisingly do enjoy it. Longevity, you're gonna get about 6 hours with this one here. And guys, that is 10 classical fragrances, or fragrances that just have that mustache vibe. Again, I had to refilm this one because of this fragrance here. Don't go by the name, because I originally thought that this was launched in 1949, but it's a 2018 release. But these are also two great fragrances as well, just mustache. I'm gonna review this one, and I'm gonna keep the stash in it, don't worry, but I will eventually shave it because my wife don't like it, and I'm not too keen on it either. Anyhow, guys, any reviews that I've done on these fragrances, they will all be down in the description box below. And if you wanna see other videos out there, you know what, I'm gonna give you a great incense fragrance, but as well, amber, check out right here. And if you like this very video, leave me one of these. I thank you for your time, take care, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.